my name is Neve, and I will be presenting my perceived market. The first area that I'm going to talk about today is screen acting or acting for film. This is an area that I'm extremely interested in going into, and some of the requirements that you need to be a screen actor. You will need great patience, as in screen acting, you will be doing multiple takes of the same shot or scene several times until the director, producer, or whoever is working with you that day is happy with it. You'll also need a great memory to be a screen actor, as sometimes script or movement can change on the fly, so you'll need to be able to adapt and remember what you're doing. Being consistent is also very important as a screen actor. As I said before, you'll be doing multiple takes of the same shot or scene, and you'll need to be able to be very consistent in how you perform in order for when they're editing it together, it looks like one coherent shot and not just multiple ones they put together. Being reliable is also extremely important, as with a lot of these productions, they're on a time schedule. So they will need to be able to rely on you to be ready to perform, turn up on time, ready to work with everyone else, and be able to know what you're doing in order to get your scene done, so you don't take up any more time than you need to, so the production can altogether run more smoothly. Having listening skills is also really important, as you'll need to be able to do it not only for health and safety reasons, but also in order to be helpful to the rest of the production, as you need to know what you're doing, and if you're not listening, then you're not going to know what you're doing, and it will just slow everyone else down. Now, qualifications aren't required to be a screen actor. However, having an education can help prepare you for becoming an actor. It can also show on your CV that you have been trained. But most of the time, what they will be looking for is work experience, and you can gain experience through working with student films, local productions, advertisements, anything that you can to build up a CV and a show reel. You can also look out for auditions that you feel you'll be suited for, which can also help build up your show reel and make your CV look more impressive. With acting on screen, it is very long days, as most of the time you are working on the same scene over and over and over again. So 12-hour days is kind of an average, depending on what part of the production you were doing. Pay is also dependent on what you were doing in the production. If you're only an extra, most likely you won't get paid, but if you are working on a main role, speaking part, then you can negotiate a wage. If you are part of a union or a part of equity, you are more likely to have them negotiate the wage for you. Another aspect I'd like to look at is musical theatre acting. Now, to be a musical theatre actor, you're going to need to have a strong physical ability, as these shows can run for months or even years in some cases. So you're going to need to be able to physically keep up with the shows as they go along. You're also going to need a good singing and dancing experience, as these shows are heavily based on singing and dancing. So you'll need to be able to build up your ability in both of them, either through practicing or taking classes. Teamworking skills is also extremely important, as you're not only going to be working with your fellow castmates, but you're going to be working with directors, producers, stage managers, all the backstage crew. You're going to need to be able to work with them in order to help the production go more smoothly. I don't think it needs to be said, but you also do need to be a triple threat. Being able to sing, act, and dance is the very minimum requirement for becoming a musical theatre actor. Like screen acting, you don't need to have an education. However, it once again will help not only just give you experience, but so people can see that you have some idea what you are doing. It can also help if you attain an agent that can search for parts for you or recommend you for roles that they know for connections. If you do have an agent, it would help if you have your typecast completely fleshed out, like you know what what type of actor you are, what type of singer you are, what type of dancer you are. Like screen acting, it is long days. From the moment you get cast to the last show, you will be working very long days in order to be able to work successfully in the production. And if you are a part of a touring company, then it is very likely that you will be traveling a lot and then setting up for shows in different theatres every few days. For agencies in Scotland that can help get into theatre or musical theatre acting, Infinity Artists and Bramley Artists Association are quite good ones. They're highly recommended by a lot of musical theatre actors based in Scotland. And the last area that I would like to look at is pantomime acting. Now, to be a pantomime actor, you will need great comedic timing, as you need to be able to bounce off your other castmates, be able to know how to make a joke land, know how to make a situation funny. Being able to be comedic is a great skill that you'll need to be a pantomime actor. Improvisation is also extremely important. As I mentioned before, you need to know how to make a scene funny or entertaining. And in theatre, things do go wrong, but pantomime acting is a great example of things going wrong being good, as the actors can turn it into something funny or entertaining, or sometimes make it more funny than the actual scene was meant to be. You'll also need to have a great stage presence when you're a pantomime actor. It doesn't matter if you're a main character or you're a part of the ensemble, you'll need to be able to be noticed and have a very strong presence on stage. And you'll also need to be very energetic. Pantomime is a very intense type of theatre, and the audience needs to feel that energy coming from you, especially since it's such an audience participation type of theatre. They'll need to be able to feel encouraged and energized. You'll also need to be able to be very versatile as a pantomime actor. Pantomime is only a seasonal type of work. Most of the time you will be doing other projects or type of acting throughout the year. But you'll need to be able to be versatile, as you'll need to be able to change all of that, because pantomime acting isn't like regular acting. It's very dramatic, overdone, so you'll need to be able to mold yourself into the pantomime style. You will also need to be able to be good with kids, as it is a family show and kids are going to be there a lot of the time. And especially since it is so much audience participation and interacting with the audience, you'll need to know like how to work with kids, how to talk to kids, communicate with them, get them excited. And getting involved in pantomimes, most town cities will have multiple pantomimes going on at the same time. So it is just working with local theatres and productions to be able to get into pantomimes. You can also go to a casting agency, which could connect you through their ties and connections. But most of the time, local theatres or all theatres will have returning cast members, or they'll be working with acting companies that work within their theatres. So it would be really good to get involved in these types of acting companies, so when pantomime season does roll around, you're able to work with them on their own pantomime. It is seasonal work, as I mentioned before, so it would only be over a few months every year. So it wouldn't be your full-time occupation. And it is a requirement that you do work over the holidays, which is quite sad, but that is one of the standards that you need to realize about pantomime work, is that you're not really going to get to have the whole Christmas holidays off. Pay is very dependent on what you are doing and how big of the production is. Local productions will not pay as much as big, in the middle of the city, the biggest theatre productions. Sometimes productions don't pay at all. However, if you are part of a union or equity, your pay can be discussed. And it is, again, long days from the moment you're cast to the last show. Since pantomime work is such a confined few months, you're going to need to put in a lot of hours to be able to be ready for the final production. And as I mentioned before, in a lot of these productions, pay is depending on what you're doing or what the production is, and in a lot of cases for actors that is the case.